We had a major issue on the production line earlier this week, so the entire development package for this weekend has failed. Check your workstation for the details.
Well, that was not the way that I wanted to go into the Monaco Grand Prix, but hello everyone, and welcome back to round 6 of Season 2 of the F1 2018 Williams Road to Glory. And as you can see, unfortunately, the front wing cascades upgrade to the aerodynamics has unfortunately failed. But today, as I said here at Monaco, our best shot of a really, really good point scoring. Now, for those of you that did watch last season's Monaco Grand Prix, it was quite crazy on the whole, and I think hopefully, you know, for us, we'll see an equally crazy race as well. You can see coming into this round, our car is slowly but surely getting up to the level of the Alfa Romeo, Haas and Force India. You know, we only really need one more upgrade, and that should obviously be the re-upgrade of the front wing cascades that hopefully should get us to that level that we do really want to achieve. You know, we've got another upgrade going on the car as well, and you know, at the moment it is just all guns blazing to try and get this aero sorted on this Williams car. So I honestly do feel we are sort of 2-3 upgrades away from having a car that can really, really fight in the mid-pack. But after free practice, actually one of the best running sessions I've had all season. As I said, Monaco is by far and away, relative to the AI, I'd imagine is our strongest track. So we can usually, you know, pick up a lot more practice programs, R&D points. You can see 418 points coming from free practice there. Moves us up now to, I think, just under 900 points, which will comfortably be enough to sort of re-upgrade this front wing cascades. Will guarantee us that we won't have the fault on the car. You can just see there, with all those upgrades, if they all work out, we'll be up to, I think, the 6th best aero on the Formula 1 grid. But let's move on then into qualifying here for the Monaco Grand Prix. Hopefully Q1 we should be able to get out. It wasn't as simple a story as I originally thought, though. Unfortunately, the setup just didn't feel quite right there. Well, we would go through into Q2 up in P10 there, but unfortunately we used up all our sets of hyper soft tyres there. P11 by the end of the session there, just behind Charles Leclerc, right at the very end there, with Bottas, Ricciardo and Verstappen the top 3. So Red Bull clearly showing they have once again got very, very good pace around this Monaco Grand Prix circuit. But obviously we'll have to wait and see about that, as obviously Q1 isn't always the best indicator in the world. But yeah, you can see Sebastian Vettel, Kimi Räikkönen, Alonso, Hülkenberg, Sainz, Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, myself, Ocon, Grosjean, Van Dorn, I think it was Magnussen that would make it through into Q2. Yeah, moving on then to the end of my Q2 run. As I said, unfortunately we had to go back out on an old set of those tyres there, which meant that we were going to struggle to make it through into Q3 on the whole. Out of the final corner, you can see we are a good few tenths up, currently all the way down in P15, but over the line it's only going to be P14 at that stage of the session. Unfortunately, we did actually pick up a little bit of front wing damage there. But yeah, that was us, therefore, out in Q2 of this Monaco Grand Prix. It would be Seb ahead of Raikkonen there, with Ricciardo rounding out the top 3, with Charles Leclerc once again doing a fantastic job, obviously, after his sensational Spanish Grand Prix. He would go through into Q3 for, I think, the first time in his Formula 1 career there, with Alonso, Hülkenberg, K-Mag, myself, and Grosjean falling to the wayside towards the end of Q2 there. But it's going to be crazy, hopefully. Let's move on then into the Monaco Grand Prix. So as I said, you know, it would probably going to be a very, very crazy Grand Prix again. Going to be interesting to see whether the AI do opt for the 1 or the 2-stop Grand Prix. But last season, obviously, we'd see Kevin Magnussen famously take that win for the Haas Formula 1 team there. Obviously, a shock result for the American team there. And you can see Sebastian Vettel would actually come through for P2. Ahead of myself, 45 seconds off the race winner, but we would be able to hold on narrowly over Daniel Ricciardo and Valtteri Bottas on it to the podium there, with Ocon finishing in P6. The McLaren's having a very good day out. Van Dorn in 7th, Alonso 8th, with Brendan Hartley scoring points for Toro Rosso, as well as Charles Leclerc getting up to 10th place there in that race, with Sergio Perez, Pierre Gasly, Nico Hülkenberg and my teammate Lance Stroll all just missing out there in the end. The AI, it does look like they will probably take a bit of a strange strategy once again, and honestly, we're just going to try and maximise our own race. You know, a lot of people sometimes say, you know, you want to go for realism, but if there was ever a situation in real F1, you know, where a car like Williams had a chance of taking the race victory, they'd use whatever strange strategy they possibly could to try and take home that race victory there. And that is what hopefully, obviously, we're going to try and go for today. You know, just take absolutely every risk, take the weirdest strategy that we possibly can, and obviously hope that, well, by the end of the day, we do find ourselves up in the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. But in the end, it would be Lewis Hamilton ahead of Daniel Ricciardo by 12 thousandths of a second, ahead of Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel there. Verstappen and Bottas would be on row 3, with Carlos Sainz and Van Dorn row 4, with Ocon and Charles Leclerc on row 5. Alonso, K-Mag, myself and Romain Grosjean, Sergio Perez, Lance Stroll, Pierre Gasly and Brendan Hartley, with Nico Hulkenberg and Marcus Ericsson at the back with penalties. So certainly, yeah, going to be a very, very interesting Grand Prix ahead of us. You know, most of the AI will go for the 2-stop here, but we'll have to wait and see as to what we're going to be able to do.
We're in amongst the pack and just need to stay in one piece.
So there we are then, Jeff making it very clear that we don't need to be going for any lap 1 heroics, but honestly, I'm not so sure about that. You know, lap 1 of the Monaco Grand Prix, we can certainly try to capitalise on the AI being very, very slowly here. You can see, in terms of race strategy, we are actually going to try and go for a bit of an alternate strategy, you know, go into the set of the ultra soft tyres for the start of the Grand Prix. The aim of that is obviously just to try and take them. So after the top guys all make their pit stop, come out in a bit of a train, we can just try to pull away at the front of this race. But here we are then on the grid, ready for the duel in the Formula 1 crown. It's the Monaco Grand Prix. It's 5 lights and it's lights out. And away we go. Actually off to a fairly average start. Then we're going to be on the inside of Grosjean in towards turn 1, sent down the inside of K-Mag here. Are we going to be able to make this move work? We're going to squeeze him out a little bit wide on the exit of the corner, but we do get the drive up the hill, and that's going to be us up into P12 of this Monaco Grand Prix. Now all over the back of Charles Leclerc in the Sauber car here. Obviously, he started inside the top 10, so it's looking like on the hype softs he may be set to struggle there down the inside of the Sauber driver we go. Don't want to lose any time being held up behind him as we come through towards the hairpin there. Alonso just, well, everyone an absolute train. They're going to be a little bit risky, but dive it up the inside of the McLaren driver there. And now up into P10 of the Monaco Grand Prix. We are already up into the points here. 3 places made up in the opening sector, well, opening half a lap, sorry, of that race. And I will certainly take that. But now it's all about just settling into our rhythm and just waiting, hopefully, for our strategy to work out for ourselves in this race. On to the end of a lap 5, we were still fairly close to the back of Van Dorn. You see a little bit of a gap starting to form between, I think, one of the Renault drivers and the top guys. We can see now on the end of lap 5 here, a few drivers now are going to start making their first pit stops of the day here. As we come out of the final corner, we're going to move all the way up into P4 of the Monaco Grand Prix here. And now this is where our strategy looks to really, you know, the stars start to align in this race. On to the end of lap 6 here. You can see we've actually got Bottas, I think it's Verstappen, and the Ferrari. I think Kimi Raikkonen are all now going to dive into the pits on the end of this lap set. And I didn't think I'd say this as early as I can in this career mode, but we now lead in the Williams Road to Glory career mode here. On to the end of lap 8, you can see Alonso and Magnussen doing exactly what I'd hoped for, you know, well, staying out at this stage and now getting the AI in a bit of a train. So now we need to push like absolute crazy over these next few laps. But just having a look actually at the gap, you can see we've actually got a big gap between the Mercedes and I think the Williams actually of my teammate Lance Stroll here. And this was going to be absolutely critical in this Grand Prix. You can see the pit now rejoin was all the way down in P18, but I was honestly thinking that we could make it out just in front of my teammate here, and this would make or break our race. If, you know, if we can get out ahead of Lance Stroll, that sets us up really, really nicely throughout the rest of this race. But if we can't, then we're in for a whole lot of bother towards the second half of this Monaco Grand Prix. So on to the end of lap 10 though. Are we going to try and make the gamble on the end of this lap? We're certainly going to try to make it work there, coming through now in towards the pit, then get the car slowed down nice and tidily here. We need a good pit stop by the team. You can see Lance Stroll just actually coming through to back here. Are we going to be able to stay ahead of him? This is going to be quite close, I think. A 2.0 second pit stop. I will certainly take that. And just look, my teammate Lance Stroll just coming through Raskas and Anthony Nogues right now here. So it looks like this strategy is going to pay off here. Out of the pit lane we will actually come comfortably out ahead of my teammate Lance Stroll here. And this was absolutely fantastic for myself here. Now over these next couple of laps we were just able to hold on close up to the back of these cars, you know, that got stuck in the queue here. And on to the end of lap 21, well, all the top guys now having to make their second stop of this Monaco Grand Prix here. We're starting to close up to the back of Valtteri Bottas here. But honestly now we are back up into the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix, and we hold the ultimate key here around Monaco, and that is track position here. It looked like Sergio Perez would actually be able to re-inherit second place here as well, which is obviously really, really ideal. You know, we've got a bit of a rear gunner in this Grand Prix, which is absolutely fantastic for myself. But these guys will be much, much quicker than myself right the way through now to the end of this Grand Prix. You can see by lap 25, Perez now down to 3.5 seconds behind me here. So he was certainly closing up the gap over these last couple of laps.
A mechanical issue means you've lost one of the gears. Say again, you have lost access to one of the gears.
So that was certainly not a message that we wanted to hear in this Grand Prix as well. Now, we have lost 4th gear here around Monaco. You can just have a look. If you look at the gearbox here, you can see we come through. Well, we won't be able to have a look until we get down into the tunnel here, but it basically just means here we go straight from 3rd all the way up to 5th gear here, and I'd argue 4th is probably one of the most crucial gears you need around Monaco, because it's corners like to back and through the final sector that you can't carry the corner speed in 5th, and you obviously drop too much speed being in 3rd gear here, and this is, well, not what we wanted.
The team are trying everything they can think of, but they're not optimistic. Just keep at it, do your best.
So, yeah, no idea what we're meant to expect to do now. You can just see how badly it unsettles the car. You know, Formula 1 cars aren't designed to short shift like that through gears, which really unsettles the rear end here and out of the final corner of lap 25. This is shaping up to be one of those Monaco Grand Prix that people remember for a very long time. On to the end of lap 26, and we've still got these gearbox issues, and well, it would be giving Sergio Perez time everywhere around this circuit here. Is he going to be able to have a look as we come up the hill? We've actually been able to relocate 4th gear here, which is absolutely fantastic, but Perez is going to be all over my rear end here. He's going to send it down the inside through in towards Casino Square. It moves to the outside through the second part of the corner. He does just about keep the nose in it down the hill. Is he going to be able to swing it right around the outside here? What a phenomenal move that would be if he's able to work, but no, he does actually back out of it there, and that is absolutely critical for us in this race, that we do still hold on to the lead through probably the weakest stage of the race for ourselves here, coming out down in towards the tunnel section once more here, and now it was really looking like it was going to be very tight between now and the end of this Grand Prix. We would have to do what Senna did, I think it was back in 1992, and just park the car absolutely everywhere, line it up in the centre of the road here. But onto the end of, well, the start, of lap 31, and I'm not too sure if Perez skimmed the wall or what, but he was starting to really sort of slow down in this latter half of the Grand Prix. See the gap now up to 4.2 seconds here with just 4 laps to go of this Monaco Grand Prix here. So this was looking, I don't want to speak too soon because nothing is guaranteed around Monaco, but we were starting to pull away at this stage of the day here, and this was absolutely fantastic for myself. Sergio Perez must certainly have issues here, and now on to the final lap of this Monaco Grand Prix. We are still in the lead. The gap has stabilised at around 4.5 seconds here. Perez might be able to close up through this final lap of this Grand Prix, but obviously we were now just really trying to control the pace, get into a bit of a rhythm here through these final few laps, not taking too many risks here as we come through in towards sector 2 through the hairpin one final time in this Grand Prix. Perez has taken 1 second out of me so far this lap, but we don't want to take any risks here, keeping nice and away from the walls here as we come out now through the tunnel one final time in this Monaco Grand Prix here. And well, as I said from the start, strategy would absolutely make or break it in today's race. It completely defines these Monaco Grand Prix on F1 2018. Hopefully, there is a bit of a patch for it on the whole. The gearbox has actually failed, and once again, we've lost 5th gear this time around now as we come through in towards the final sector of this Grand Prix. They get very close to skimming the wall, but through Rascasse one final time and up to the final corner. I cannot believe we are saying this here, but we are going to come through to win the Monaco Grand Prix in this Williams car, and well, I was just not expecting that.
Absolutely fantastic. It's a brilliant result. Well done.
Here they are then, coming into Parc Fermé, and an excellent win for the Williams team. So, Ant, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
I think we'll chalk this one up to a deft touch on the brake pedal. That's allowed them to challenge down the inside into the braking zones, and ultimately, if you do that often enough, you end up winning the race. It was great to watch as well though, wasn't it? Forget strategy, forget tyre management. Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned scrap?
And I can see our drivers making their way out now. It's been a sublime team performance, and it's the culmination of a lot of hard work. Williams are your winners today.
Well, I wasn't expecting to say that so early on in this Williams career mode there. You know, we were hoping we'd be able to take some wins at some point over the course of this career mode there. But to take the win in just Season 2 of this Williams Road to Glory there from P13 on the grid, that is certainly a race that we will remember for a very, very long time there. Sergio Perez would basically be able to follow my strategy home for P2 there, which obviously just goes to show it wasn't just a fluke from myself. Kimi Räikkönen would come through for P3 with Verstappen fourth. The Haas, obviously, were able to take home the race victory last season, would actually only be able to come through for 5th and 6th ahead of Bottas, Fernando Alonso, Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly, Hülkenberg, and look, Sebastian Vettel would finish outside the points there. The second race in a row he has not scored points. It'd be the same for Lewis Hamilton there as well. He'd actually retire from the Grand Prix with just a few laps to go there. Daniel Ricciardo would come through for P14 with Ericsson 15th, Esteban Ocon 16th, Van Dorn 17th, Charles Leclerc from P10 would drop all the way down to P18 there, with Brendan Hartley unfortunately down in last place there, with, as I said, Lewis Hamilton unfortunately falling to the wayside right towards the very end of that Monaco Grand Prix. But in terms then of the drivers' standings, after 4 straight victories, Sebastian Vettel's lead has completely gone. Well, as you can see, Kimi Räikkönen now tied at the top of the Drivers' Championship here, so Kimi Räikkönen could be looking really now like he could try and hassle his 5-time World Championship teammate of Sebastian Vettel here. Lewis Hamilton is still just about holding on to P3, 4 points clear of Daniel Ricciardo there, who's 7 ahead of his teammate Max Verstappen there. Sergio Perez, with that good result, would jump all the way, well, he'd hold on to P6 with Grosjean 7th. Grosjean and I would both jump. Charles Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas, who is still only on 25 points in this series, Fernando Alonso and Stoffel Van Dorn there. As you can see, Haas and Williams both move up the order there as well. We're now ahead of McLaren, Sauber and Renault there, with Toro Rosso actually now with 1 point on the board as well. That means every team has now scored points. I think it's now just my teammate Lance Stroll and Brendan Hartley left to score in the Drivers' Championship there. But Ferrari have more points than Red Bull and Mercedes combined after the opening 6 rounds of this season there. But what a crazy race at the Monaco Grand Prix. You know, to say I wasn't expecting that was probably the right thing. You know, it was the right statement on the whole. You know, I had an idea that we could potentially, get another podium here in Monaco. The AI strategy is just very, very broken on the whole, but I wasn't expecting to take home the race victory, especially with that gearbox failure as well. But in terms of the driver rivalry, we are now 4 points clear of my teammate Lance Stroll, and now we've pretty much solidified our win over Brendan Hartley as well here. In terms of R&D though, obviously we're going to be able to claim a huge amount of points from the Monaco Grand Prix, a 206 bonus and then a 400 team goal bonus as well. 908 points taken from the Monaco Grand Prix on the whole there. Unfortunately, we're not actually going to be able to get another aero upgrade on the car as we move into Canada because, well, unfortunately we've got the department completely maxed out, but we are going to save up those 1,400 R&D points and look to try and get more upgrades in the aerodynamics department of this car to try and move this car further and further up the order. As I said, hopefully we'll be right with Sauber, Haas and Force India as we move into the next round of this 2018 Williams Road to Glory. But there we are then, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed this video. Finally, our first race victory of this career mode, and hopefully I will see you guys next time for the Canadian Grand Prix, where hopefully we look to try and continue this wave of success after scoring points in the, three of the last 4 rounds here of this series. Yeah, as I said, Canada next. Hopefully we can continue this run.